Welcome to Flip Your Script, the vodcast from the American College of Lifestyle Medicine that's all about clinicians redefining care through lifestyle medicine. I'm Dr. Padmaja Patel, President of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. I'm board certified in internal medicine and lifestyle medicine and currently serve as Chief Medical Officer at Nudge Health. In just around 15 minutes, we'll bring you 5 key takeaways from leading experts, innovators, and practitioners who are using evidence-based lifestyle medicine to transform patient outcomes. From practical strategies to success stories, we focus on the how of lifestyle medicine to empower you to make an impact in your practice and beyond. In this episode, we're honored to be joined by Dr. Marcelo Fiszman. Dr. Fiszman is an internal medicine physician and professor of Biomedical Informatics and Lifestyle Medicine from the Pontifical Catholic University of Rio de Janeiro. He earned his MD in Brazil and his PhD in Biomedical Informatics at University of Utah, focusing on AI in medicine, and spent 16 years as a biomedical informatics scientist at the NIH. A fellow of the American College of Medical Informatics with over 100 publications, he's also a member of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine and board certified in lifestyle medicine. He currently serves as a senior investigator on a 5-year NIH-funded grant to build AI-driven tools that consolidate evidence on non-pharmacological lifestyle-based interventions. Dr. Fiszman practices internal medicine with a focus on whole food, plant-based nutrition, and microbiome-centered care. Welcome, Dr. Fiszman. I'm excited about our conversation today. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me. I'm very happy about it.
Well, my pleasure. So let me start our conversation by asking you to share a little bit about your journey into the field of lifestyle medicine.
Well, it's a long journey, so I'm going to try to make it a summary. So I did earn my degree, as you said, here in Brazil, in Rio. But back then, I was already not really, I didn't like the way medicine was practiced, a lot of medicalization. And I really liked science back then. So I pursued a career in biomedical informatics or today is like health informatics or that, where it wasn't really something that was talked too much back then. So I did my residency and I immediately went to the United States to get my PhD. I was introduced to the field of AI and I did my PhD from 97 to 2002, already on AI, applied to medicine, and I was hired by the NIH to be a scientist in this area, So I think my real first experience, was at the NIH while being a scientist there. And it's an interesting experience. So I'm going to share. The National Heart and Lung and Blood Institute of the NIH produced guidelines for obesity and a lot of things like that, and they came to us for help. They actually put some money. That was a scientist at the National Library of Medicine, which has all the informatics, everything, PubMed, Medline Plus, and I worked as a scientist there. So they wanted our help, to help them to look at the literature, the biomedical literature, to see, to answer their guideline questions. And I remember one of the questions was, what is the efficacy for sibutramine for obesity? I remember this was 2007. So that was my first experience with lifestyle medicine. And then, we did a, overwhelming search using the AI methods back then. And what came out, it came out some evidence with sibutramine, but what really came up back then in 2007 was lifestyle.
Overwhelming, yes.
That was big. And then well, look, this is what's important. So I told that time my boss at the NIH, well, we need to tell them that. So I went and told the guys there that we need to put lifestyle medicine in the guideline. I mean, the first thing you do is lifestyle, right? So they actually heard it and they did put in the in the in
Oh,
the
wow.
the guideline. They put this lifestyle. I mean, things
Intervention.
we talk about now. They put it in the guidelines. So I was kind of happy, and I started growing my interest. And then later, since I went to be a scientist, I could not practice there. I decided, well, this type of medicine or I want to do. So it
Hmm.
was one of the bases for my decision to come back to Brazil, because here I can practice, and I've been practicing lifestyle medicine.
Very
And the
nice.
rest, that's it.
Yeah, no, very powerful for you to influence guidelines and to really recommend lifestyle medicine as a first line of interventions, which obviously now we know that many chronic conditions have clinical practice guidelines have that. So it's really exciting and encouraging to see that you had some role to play somewhere along the way. So how can AI reveal the pathways through which lifestyle medicine interventions can drive what we really like to do, what's called whole person care or whole person health outcomes?
Okay, one thing that I didn't mention, but it's also relevant to this question is during the time of the COVID pandemics, we they were interested on a drug, right? On a
Yes.
drug to treat COVID, right? And AI actually played a big role on finding off the shelf, that's called drug repurposing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
use the drug that was developed for something else for COVID. And AI came up with explanations based on wet bench research. We went to the literature
Yeah.
to see. I mean, well, we did it. NIH actually asked, I was not working at the NIH anymore. I was already here in Brazil, but my colleagues there, they asked them, and then we did it. And then again, we did find the drugs. We published the paper back in 2021, end of 2020. But again, what came up strong? Lifestyle medicine.
Yes.
Everything related to the pillars of lifestyle medicine came big. I was not surprised. I mean, if you remember the news and everything, all those chronic conditions and all these things. So people were like doing these things. They were like healthier and less prone to
Mm-hmm.
having
Absolutely.
COVID, and even having, and papers were published to that. But in more specific about your question, there is a very interesting word in addition to whole person health that the NCCIH and NIH likes to use is salutogenesis, right?
Yes. Genesis.
So
Yes.
the- yeah, this word is a little bit revolutionary, I think, because we've been for all these years we've been focusing so much on pathogenesis.
Mm-hmm.
Or kind of salutogenesis is the opposite of that, you
Yeah.
know? Is getting people where they're not in a sick stage yet and bringing them back to health, right? And I think lifestyle medicine plays a crucial role in that. However, here's what I think AI is important. It's complex
Mm-hmm.
because it's individual, and it's every person is different, right? And every person has its own characteristics, and it's a lot of data involved. Data from your genes, data from your transcriptome, from your microbiome, from your social connections, from eventually the drugs you're taking, from the foods you're taking. So it's complex data. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just a little bit. So in order to understand all of this, to amass all this information, AI could be very helpful. And a challenge was launched at the NIH to use AI because it could help give insights on what to do, with AI. So we did apply for a grant back in 2022, and we didn't get it. It probably took I'd say it took 3 years. I think
Mm-hmm.
after ChatGPT was launched, and their attention got very focused on AI, and they looked at the grant and they said, well, this grant is interesting. So they funded us as of October of last year to do exactly what I'm saying to you,
Wow.
looking at the whole biomedical literature,
Mm-hmm.
all the 40 million, journals of all the literature, can give like more like not a compartmental view of
Yes.
things, but a top-down view,
You.
so that we can actually understand the mechanisms that are working here. Some of the mechanisms are written, but not everything is clear, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So nutrition probably a little bit more, but not everything is clear.
Yes.
So they're paying us for that. So it's a 5-year grant. There are 3 institutions in the US involved, ex-colleagues of mine in the US. So it's an interesting project, and some papers are the first paper is actually going to go out now, and I'm very excited about this project, and all my colleagues are too.
Yes, indeed. Very excited. We are also, and looking forward to your publication as well. So please share with us when it becomes available. Let's moving on to the next question I have is why is biomedical informatics, and especially the creation or expansion of current semantic standards for interoperability so important for lifestyle medicine and digital health infrastructure? Everyone's talking about interoperability, so this is a very hot topic, and I want to really get your insights on this.
Well, this is very important because even before AI came, if you think about as a pyramid, the base of the pyramid is data representation.
Yes.
You have to represent the data, especially in the US, where everything is so scattered and everyone has their own way of doing things. So computers don't really, in spite of people using AI and this kind of thing, that AI that people is using right now does not really codify this into standards. It doesn't do
Mm-hmm.
it.
Right.
So the AI is important for decision making, for helping with a lot of things, all this type of AI, but it's not the only thing important. It works on top of data.
Yes.
I've been working with data uh, uh, in medicine, mostly in medicine and nursing, but not in lifestyle medicine. I mean, what the reality is that the main institution in the US that worries about data representation is the American Medical of Informatics Association.
Mm.
And they've been talking about this for years. So there are many standards that started with them, and they are they are unaware of lifestyle medicine, which also needs their own standards. We can't have standards only for disorders, procedures, drugs. We need to
Right.
have standards for the the
Lifestyle?
stuff we're doing, right?
Yeah.
I have my own experience in a company I work for, where I had to actually represent, the short form of the lifestyle medicine questionnaire. Well, I was looking for codification, and there's none.
Mm.
There isn't. And I'm talking about the back end of the representation. And also, when you send information from one computer to another computer, there are standards, there are names for these standards. I'm not going to pronounce their names because I don't want to scare people away, but everything in the US for medicine and for nursing and for hospitals work with these standards, and AI at this point will not provide the standards for you unless really trained, well trained. It will not. So we have to worry about this. And the grant itself, we have to do it because we're doing lifestyle medicine interventions, right? We're talking about food, we're talking about exercise. None of the, I mean, how much exercise, what type of food, what's the dietary pattern, what's the social connection? This must be represented. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Well, very well said. So, can you give us some examples of how is artificial intelligence currently being applied at the forefront of lifestyle medicine to really focus on prevention, diagnosis, and personalized care?
Yeah. Last year, I went to ACLM to present a workshop, and my role at that workshop at the ACLM conference that was in Orlando was I did a workshop, two roles. One was the other question you asked, explain how we could use AI, and the second one, how is it used? So what I did was like a 5-year sort of like informal, systematic review
Uh-huh.
of how is it being used. One of them is what I'm doing, but very little has been done. Mechanisms, trying to identify mechanisms. AI is good for that. Identify the mechanism. So that part is what I'm doing with the grant. But the majority of the research that's out there, the great majority, is how using those chatbots,
Yes.
majority. It's like how we can use this to help our practice, the majority. But there are other ones like predicting things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Predicting what sort of population will adhere to let's say a whole food plant-based diet. So they
Right.
take up the characteristics so their papers published so they can know, oh, this person has a high chance of, so there are artificial intelligence tools being developed to predict things that will
Mm.
be another area that was high was education, for responding questions and
Yes.
helping people. So, but the reality is that the literature is still scant. There is
Mm.
not a lot, and I expect it to improve a lot. But before it improves, I think we need to educate people about it.
That's true. That's
What
true.
is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence has not started with ChatGPT. It's
Right.
been around for,
For a
I mean,
while.
60s.
Right.
So it has not started, and for sure we'll have a long, long way to go. So it's this interface between the informatics people at AMIA and ACLM, and sort of like we'll
Yeah.
we'll we'll, we'll do a lot for
Yeah.
that.
We'll have to work on all of these. Thank you for highlighting that. Now, there are concerns about patient data privacy, consent, the ethical implications of AI-driven interventions, and as well as, you just talked about lack of standardized regulatory framework. What is your take on all of these?
Okay, so since I'm a benchmark researcher, foundational research, not benchmark, foundational researcher, I had not to deal with that too much. However, that's all that's being taught for medicine as a whole. So
Mm-hmm.
it does apply to lifestyle medicine also. I'm gonna ask you for your permission. I'm gonna read a paper that
Sure.
was published in 2021 before the advent of these tools, and the title of it's about that. And one of the things that they say is that the 10 commandments of AI in health.
Okay.
So I'm going to read that, okay? Maybe I'm not going to read all of them, but I'm going to read a few of them. So
Okay.
the paper, so of course your question is very important, right? Because there's this problem of privacy and bias and regulation. So the Ten Commandments says, one, it must be recognizable that and which part of a decision or action is taken and carried out by AI. It must be recognizable which part of the communication is performed by an AI agent. The responsibility for an AI decision, action, or communicative process must be taken by a competent physician or legal person. AI decision, actions, and communicative processes must be transparent and explainable. You see,
Mm. Yeah.
explainable. An AI decision must be comprehensible and repeatable. That's not easy. An explanation of AI decisions must be based on state-of-the-art scientific theories. Seven, an AI decision, action, or communication must not be manipulative by pretending accuracy. I emphasize that
Mm. Good.
because these things do hallucinate, okay? Still hallucinate. The hallucination is a technical term for you can't trust 100%. 8, an AI decision, action, or communication must not violate any applicable law and must not lead to human harm. 9, an AI decision, action, or communication shall not be discriminatory. This applies in particular to the training of algorithms. 10, the target setting, control, and monitoring of AI decisions, actions, and communications shall not be performed by algorithms.
Very good. Well,
So you
thank you.
see, I read it took a little bit, but I think it was important to bring this because this is a paper for 4 years ago, before the advent of these tools. And they're now starting to take action. Organizations such as the American Medical Informatics Association trying to regulate, but it's still not very well regulated. But all of these things need to be taken into account.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing those 10 commandments of AI. Yeah, I think it's been really very awesome, really talking to you. I think clearly I've learned a lot in our conversations today. And while we are out of time, I want to thank you for your insights, for taking the time to join us today, and for sharing your knowledge and expertise. Thank you to our audience for tuning into this episode of Flip Your Script. We hope today's conversation has inspired you with practical insights on how lifestyle medicine is shaping the future of patient care. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Stay connected with us for more episodes featuring clinicians and innovators who are rewriting the script on health, one patient at a time. Until next time, take action, make an impact, and keep flipping the script on healthcare. Thank you.